the sports equinox this week. The Toronto Argos play a huge game today. We have an ugly statue. The gap in the F1 championship keeps shrinking. And of course, we have the NHL and the NFL. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happens, recorded live at Shoey's Bar and Grill in Etobicoke, the only place to be. It's voted 4 times the greatest dive bar in all the GTA. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How was your week?
My week was okay. A little busy, a little caring, and a little understanding, and a modicum of fun. How's that?
Just a modicum of fun?
Well, when you get busy, sometimes you're having fun, but you're being responsible. How's that? So I'm going to balance it, too, between just not being the retired, do-what-I-want kind of guy to actually having a little bit of responsibility.
Sure.
And, you know, cruise and responsibility usually don't go in the same sentence. You know what I mean? But otherwise, it was a good week. What about yourself?
Pretty good. It was busy, but happy we're at the weekend.
You got a big afternoon coming up. I think you're going to be shouting out to those people, aren't you?
Yes. Shout out to Humber Rugby. Going to be calling the men's semifinal right after I'm done this. Georgians in town for that one. And if they win, they will be going on to the gold medal game.
Most excellent. Let's give some big cheers and some big yells. Now, I know you already alluded to, but we have to shout out because it's such a cool day, but the sports equinox is really cool, isn't it? What happens maybe once a year?
Yeah, usually.
Because on that Sunday, everything has to align for it to go up. And if the NBA did not start as early as they used to, because the equinox doesn't come around a lot, does it? Because sometimes the World Series games don't play on Sunday or whatever it is. I don't know how it works, but it was Monday was the equinox, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the Monday Night Football. So we may see it again. I always think it's interesting. What it does is make you busy with, not me, I just put all the screens on, but I know everybody else works their remote control overtime, station to station. You know what I mean?
Sure. Also, shout out to the WNBA for all the coach firings. Indiana Fever fired Christy Sides in response to the Connecticut Suns firing Stephanie White, and it just got announced yesterday that the Fever did indeed hire Stephanie White as their head coach.
That's you know what? I understand doing that, but at the same time, the Fever had gone so far ahead in this first season after getting the first overall pick in Caitlin Clark, and suddenly that coach is no good. Now, the pedigree of, what's her name on Connecticut?
Stephanie White.
Yeah, she has got a pretty damn good track record, and I was actually quite surprised when Connecticut fired her. You know what I mean? I was very surprised.
Yeah, they were like the number 3 team all year, basically.
Yeah, and they had a run there. They did it good. But what really is blowing me away about the WNBA is they have the biggest season of the history of the league. Okay, everyone says, well, they didn't get 1 million viewers for the finals. Well, they averaged around 900,000. Considering that's 30% more than they usually got in any other year, I think they should be happy, especially with the commerce and income that keeps coming in for the league. Don't you think?
Sure.
However, what kind of stability are you showing the world when there's only 12 teams in the league and 7 coaches get fired? Now, word around the campfire is there's so much great talent sitting in the wings that could coach or prepare women's teams that say that they're not going to worry about it, so to speak. And with the expansion of 2 more teams coming, they're going to probably
more.
They're going to start with the 2, Toronto and I forget who else. Is it Denver or somebody? In any event, there's enough quality people that can run teams that are sitting around that'll join the WNBA. However, when you fire coaches, that tells me that many at this time. What about stability?
Well, I mean, if the better coach is out there that you want, I mean, you're going to go for it.
What about the other 5 teams that fired their coaches? Like, okay, we get Indiana, we got Connecticut. 5 other teams. Some of these women have been coaching forever. You know what I mean? And add to that.
Well, other teams fired their coaches.
Some of them bad records. The bottom teams, I got that, bad records. Some of them were in the middle of the pack. Somebody said one of the coaches was getting too old. But the bottom line is, look at the publicity you're going to get, okay? You had a great finals, went to 5 games, went to overtime. What more could you ask for? You had 900,000 people watching the game. It gets over, 7 coaches are fired, and now you want to throw away the CBA contract to boot because owners said, oh, we lost $40 million. We discussed that last week. But that just seems weird, don't you think?
What, with all the firings?
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like they're a major league league, like the NHL or the NFL.
Well, I heard a great joke about Michael Wilbon said this week was funny. He said with all the firings in the WNBA, he goes, what do you think this is, the NHL?
Yeah, I heard that too. That's funny.
I cracked up myself because there's already rumors about who's going to be fired in the NHL before Thanksgiving Day, but we will get to that down the road. But before
one of them I predicted in our hockey preview show.
What's that?
One of them, yeah, I predicted in our hockey preview show.
And it's smelling very loud, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Although he's coach at Team USA, but figure that out.
What?
Although he's still coach at Team
USA, so that's we'll get to that later. But I before we go on and speaking about great women, I want to have a shout out to your girlfriend Radhika, who's just brought me in the Montreal Canadian Youpie, whatever his name is. He is so cool, girl. So if you're listening to this, I'm absolutely happy with this. It's going to join my collection with about 10 others, which are variety characters. I'm not going to say who, and why, but this is ultimately very cool. It'll be on the piano by the time I get home this afternoon. Thank you very much. And oh, by the way, thank you for promoting my guitar playing skills, but I'm not going to say it too loud because there's going to be some people out there that are going to say, Cruz and guitar, are you kidding me? I'll fix them later.
Any other shout-outs?
Not really. I just wanted to shout out to all the people that were very safe in my neighborhood on Halloween night. I didn't get as many trick-or-treaters as I thought, but because I live on a weird corner on the street, so sometimes the kids pass me by because I was the only house within 6 that looked like it was Halloween. So they just skipped by the street because around the corner there was 100 houses decorated. But the safety level in my neighborhood was great. I didn't see any cars around hardly. Kids were yelling and screaming. There was some really, really cool stuff flying around the air. You know, people put stuff in the air to fly across the street.
Yeah.
So happy Halloween to everybody, and I hope you had a great time. But most of all, I want to thank everyone in my neighborhood for being so cool.
Awesome. We'll move this along to Formula One, where Carlos Sainz and Ferrari captured the Mexican Grand Prix. Leclerc capturing third, so a double podium for Ferrari. Lando, second place. Max could have had a better race, but he got booted with 2 10-second time penalties for, I guess, pushing Lando off the road. And he had probably his peak James Bond villain response to that.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Where he was like, 10 seconds, impressive.
Yeah. That's why I love Max. In any event, we were discussing this in production meeting, and one of the things I'm learning to understand is, like I told you, I didn't know there's not really a refereeing governing body for F1. It's basically handled by stewards.
Race to race.
Race to race. Yeah. Now, one of the things you pointed out to me, which I found interesting, because when I was watching the sprints last night, is when you can dive at a guy, when you can, how far away from the car, and then, of course, every track is different, so how can you have anything standard? Mm-hmm. So the result of Max getting him, I don't think Max was ultra pissed off that he got him. I think he was super pissed off. He's just such a cool villain that he acted like it was no big deal. However, if you act what was going on with all the other guys, Zach Brown, who I'm trying to like, and I really believe McLaren's not going to win the constructor points because they're going to do something stupid like they did last week. They just seem to be having like team problems, little tiny things, 3 seconds here, 4 seconds there, debating, should we do this guy? Should Pastrana be in front? Should Norris be in front? But in any event, he was saying like, Max should have been penalized more. What more can you penalize the guy? You know what I'm saying? And another thing, I think that he was more pissed off at the fact that Ferrari got the top 2 spots, which has now made the constructor
Well, Lando got second though.
Yeah, but that's still that kept him ahead. With 4 races, today is what, the 5th? Fourth last race. My prediction right now is Ferrari's going to win the constructors.
Certainly trending that way.
Oh, 100%. And not only that, they didn't seem disappointed and getting 3rd and 5th. Aren't they in the sprint qualifying? They were 3rd and 5th? Because I think it went...
McLaren top 2, and then Max is sandwiched between the Ferraris.
So it should be an interesting sprint. I'm more interested in the race tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, Brazil's such a great track,
too.
It
is. It's so cool, and there's lots of places where you can do insane things.
Yeah.
One of the things that's going to happen in this race, even though we got all the arguments going on, Red Bull pulled a fast one and switched their engine, eh?
Yeah. So the Max is going to take the 5-place grid penalty.
So that means even if he gets a pole position, he'll start at 5th.
6th.
6th. Oh, yeah, he'll start at 6th. You know what I mean? But I still think that he's going to qualify in the top 6. His car looked great in the sprints. You know what I mean? And he could have pushed it. Some people said yesterday he should have went out for one more lap.
For the last one?
Yeah, for Q3.
It's tough. A lot of teams have it structured where they only go out for one run for SQ3 because it's only 8 minutes or something?
Yeah, it's not long.
It's not that long.
No, so he got out there and did his thing. I find it to be very, very interesting that all we talked about is the emergence of McLaren as the powerhouse, and coming through the back door is your boys at Ferrari.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of expecting Lando kind of to do something stupid like him and Max to kind of take each other out in one of these last few races.
I'm expecting something weird to happen, too, especially in the first 2 laps. You know what?
Like this weekend?
This weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, because when they come into that hairpin and going around, out of the box, and we know Norris is not the greatest starter in the history of leading races. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be a fascinating race. I'm still predicting Ferrari to win it all. Somehow, some way, Max will still win the driver championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly looking that way, but I'm wondering how much Red Bull has before they fall off potentially, because we know at the beginning of the season Perez was crashing the car a lot. That cuts into your cost cap. How much cap do they have left to keep upgrading the car? When's the end of the line coming?
I think the end of the line is now with a 5-grid drop, no matter what your pole position is, even though Perez's car looked great.
But in terms of car development, when's it going to be that other teams start to when's it going to be just the end of the runway for Red Bull in terms of upgrades? Because from what I understand, you can cut into next season with that, but you don't want to do that very much, do you? Which Red Bull has done that a bit from what I understand. So they could be in a little bit of trouble next year, but how much they've done that is the question. I don't think they've cut into that too much. I think that'd be stupid and short-sighted.
Oh, no kidding. But I think that they're just setting it up to keep Max in the championship, so they can at least claim the driver championship, because I don't see Red Bull getting constructors, even though
they're already in 3rd place.
Yeah, so
and they're second. Perez stinks.
Yes,
Perez stinks,
and his contract's still got one more year.
Yeah, they could send him down to the junior club.
I don't think they will. He looked good yesterday.
I think they have to.
Well, considering they got no one to protect Max, you got
come on. Having Perez as your second driver is costing you the constructors. Play it simple.
100%. And there's a couple other people that are coming up along. The other, Haas is suddenly making noise, out of nowhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying too, with Red Bull kind of falling off the cliff and their potential final push, because Haas shows in random weekends that they could have the pace. Williams has the pace some random weekends.
Yes.
So if Red Bull's behind, they could find themselves as the 6th best car in some tracks if they fall behind. So
and it's I don't know. And one of the things that we don't talk about, I don't talk about enough, is the pace of your car.
100%.
That's the deal right there. When Max finished the race, he said, "Listen, it doesn't matter what happened. I didn't have the pace anyway." So he goes, "If I didn't get the penalties, where would I have been?" I said, "I couldn't have got." He says he wasn't even sure he was going to get to the podium. Considering the pace of his car. But I think that I was very surprised to hear about the engine change.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard. In the 5-grid mood, I went, whoa, that's kind of interesting. But I think he'll pass a couple cars ahead. I'm very, one thing that gets me is that I'm not always understanding the nuances of Formula One in this place, and that certain drivers go to certain tracks and they have a following. And I was really, really impressed with the boy from Mercedes, that's Lewis Hamilton. Do you see the support he's getting in Brazil?
Yeah, that's a lot of places. He's just a very popular driver.
Oh, but when he got out of the car, they went completely nuts. They gave Carlos Sainz a pretty good, hi, how you doing? I think they were trying to piss from the stands on Max. I didn't see anybody I didn't see anybody going, "Hey, Max, are you having a good day?" But the crowd went completely nuts for Carlos Sainz. It went completely nuts for Lewis Hamilton. Yep. Even George Russell got some love. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not about him, but
I'm not either. He's a funny guy. But
that's one way to put it.
He's a funny guy. But, I mean, I'm impressed with Lewis Hamilton, of course, because of his resume and stuff like that.
His pedigree, yeah.
Yeah, but when you hear the crowds, it's pretty freaking crazy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So as it stands now, Ferrari is just 29 points back of McLaren for first in the Constructors. Lando's 47 points back of Max for the Drivers' Championship, and Leclerc is 71 points back of Max for the championship. So if Leclerc can get within 50 the last 2 races, I think we're in business.
Oh, could be an exciting end. 4 good races. That ends in Abu Dhabi, I believe?
Yes, it does.
Wow. We'll keep you posted, people. If you're not interested enough, just put it on and see this is one of the greatest reality shows on earth.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
We will take this into the world of the CFL, where today the Toronto Argos are playing their biggest game of the season, hosting the Eastern semifinals with the Ottawa Red Blacks in town.
I think that this is the Chad Kelly moment. Do you agree?
It certainly looks that way.
I'm saying the Argos got enough defense that they can handle Ottawa. They seem to have their shit.
And we've talked about this. Like, Ottawa coming down the stretch looked a little fraudulent, not as strong as they did earlier in the season.
Well, I'm expecting a big win today. I'm expecting a huge win because this means the next game they'll probably have to play Winnipeg, correct?
Montreal would be the next game.
Which would be great. Toronto going to Montreal. Remember last year Montreal came to Toronto?
Yep.
So we got a lot of drama involved. I'm just saying this. Somehow, some way, the Argos defense gives you, are they the bend but don't break? I can't say that because they do break.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, they're back end.
Though down the stretch, they looked stronger. I mean, they weren't really playing some top competitions. I guess they beat Winnipeg towards the end, but...
Their front seven seems to be okay. It's the back end. The coverage with their safeties. I mean, their corners sometimes.
Oh, like your Detroit Lions.
Yeah. We'll discuss that in a minute when we get down the road. But anyways, we're expecting a huge crowd down at BMO Field today.
Argos only favored by 6.5. I'd take the Argos to cover.
Oh, I think I will. I might even take a little bet on that after the show. Bottom line is the Shoeys contingent will be down there. Huge shout out to all you guys. I don't think it's going to be that cold, is it?
I think it's, well, by the lake, it's probably going to feel like sub-zero.
Yeah, so it's going to be down there. So wrap warm when you're going down because the sun is not always going out, but go Argos.
Argos.
Yes, let's do it. Got to have some winning in this team at some time. You know what I mean?
In the city, you mean?
In this city, yes. 100%. But there's been a little bit of a buzz around the Argos. I'm seeing like the old school guys in my neighborhood all rocking Argo hats. Some guys wearing their jerseys. That just tells you how deep the Argos do run in this city.
Oh, of course.
You know,
especially
which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, with the younger generation, that they're having problems kind of getting them into it. But hopefully this is the first step to kind of extending that olive branch, if you will.
Because the young people got too many other things to do, including their phones.
Well, and we're all NFL guys.
And NFL guys, and the emergence of probably what we're going to.
And let's not pretend that you're like Mr. CFL either.
I'm not. I've always admitted it.
So don't blame this on like the younger generation, like
okay,
phones.
Well, let's put it this way. When I moved here years ago, I kind of forgot about the CFL, but I do. I have a huge respect for the Argonauts and their following. Is that the best way to put it? And when they're going to be in there, I'm going to be cheering loud and clear. Good luck to the Argos. I do have my Ricky Williams jersey. I might have to put it on today.
I would highly recommend that.
Okay, here we go.
We'll move this on to our soccer report, where Manchester City is the last undefeated team in the European League. 7-2, 7 wins, 2 draws, and they beat Southampton.
Yes.
1-0 last weekend. Liverpool got the 2-2 draw in Arsenal and now they're just 1 point back of Man City. Arsenal is 4 points back of Liverpool, so they're all still kind of in the title hunt.
Arsenal's sneaky good, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're always like that, and they never win.
Okay.
They'll make it to Champions League, but like they never win the title.
No, okay.
In Serie A, Atalanta beat Hellas Verona 6-1.
Wow.
So a big win there from the Europa League champions from last year. Juventus getting a 4-4 draw at Inter Milan in the Derby d'Italia. First team that's supposed to depend on their defense like Juventus. That's a pretty crazy scoreline.
100%. When's the last time they've given up 4 goals?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I'd say.
Fiorentina defeated Roma 5-1. Fiorentina is 4th place in Serie A, 6 points back of Napoli, who beat Milan 2-0 in Milan. Napoli holding an 8-1-1 record, and Milan falling back to 8th place with 14 points, although they do have a game in hand because their game against Bologna got canceled last week.
Well, I was watching on TV. I forget which one it was. They were showing the highlights from it. And you know what? I don't want to be a big traveler, but I will tell you honestly, one of the places I do want to go to one day is Italy. I'll put Italy and Greek and Hawaii. They're the only 3 places I want to go to because I don't know if the interviewer was going. They were going to one of the Champions games and talking about the team. But the scenery around some of these arenas or some of these stadiums is stunning. I don't know, it was Napoli or one of the ones, whatever. They were showing them like like an aerial view, it just looked like this stadium was in the middle of the most picturesque place you could possibly be in the world. And
sounds about right.
Yeah, but well, you've been to Italy, so you know. But I mean, like the scenery there is unbelievable. You know what I mean? And some of the places are of altitude in Italy too, right? They were showing it, but they did one of those shots where, like, I don't know if it was a Goodyear blimp, but they did one of those shots where they turn around so you can see the arena and then they come down, but they show you everything around it. Quite impressive.
Yeah. Parma got a 2-2 draw at Juventus later in the week. Inter getting a 3-0 win at Empoli, so now, Inter is 4 points back of the title. Atalanta won again 2-0 versus Monza. Now they sit in third place, 6 points back. In Spain, Barcelona won 4-0 at Madrid. We talked about this one a little bit. It's El Clasico. Barca
Huge
now,
game, eh?
Yeah, Barca now 10-0-1, sitting in first place with Real 6 points back in second place.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Atletico Madrid's been having a little bit of a tough time. They lost 1-0 at Real Betis. Atletico 10 points back in fourth place. If you move over to Germany for the Bundesliga, RB Leipzig won 3-1 at SC Freiburg.
Are they a contender?
RB Leipzig, tied for first.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. But I mean, are they a serious contender?
Why not?
Okay.
They got that Red Bull money.
Yeah. Point well taken.
Bayern won 5-0 at Bochum. Both teams, like I said before, RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich, 6-2, with Bayern, I guess, technically in first because of a tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. In France, Lille won 2-0 at Lens. Jonathan David scored a penalty in the 99th minute. They find themselves 6 points back in fourth place. PSG won 3-0 at Marseille, one of the big French rivalries there.
Huge.
7-2, sitting in first place. Marseille, 6 back in third. Monaco lost 2-1 at Nice, and they now sit 3 points back in second place. They lose their tie of first place. Looking at some of the big games this weekend, Manchester United versus Chelsea. That's on Sunday. Chelsea is in fifth place with 17 points. Tottenham will take on Aston Villa on Sunday. Aston Villa is in fourth place with 18 points. Napoli versus Atalanta on Sunday in Serie A, and Borussia Dortmund versus RB Leipzig. One of the bigger matchups there in the Bundesliga.
So is Manchester United done for the year?
Yeah, they're middle of the table.
If that.
That's Jay's team. He would tell you the same.
Okay, but they've fallen off the cliff in the last couple of years, eh?
They really have. It's been ugly.
I'm surprised because you always hear about them, and then lately I've seen them beating. Like they lost to some team, was it that's not even? They haven't lost to since Jesus was a baby, kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And you always hear about Manchester United, and here they are coming back to the pack. I think they'll just flip the money during the off season.
Why haven't they done that like the last few off seasons?
I have no idea.
I think the problem probably goes deeper than that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When does this Champions League round robin finish? Not till around
that won't be till the new year. So we have another round coming this week actually.
Yeah,
so Real Madrid will host AC Milan.
Huge game.
That's on Tuesday. We got Liverpool versus Bayer Leverkusen. Manchester City is going into Sporting CP, one of the big Portuguese clubs. Lille is hosting Juventus. RB Leipzig is going into Celtic. What else do we got? Then on Wednesday, Aston Villa goes into Club Bruges, so that should be a favorable result for them. PSG hosts Atletico Madrid. Inter Milan hosts Arsenal. Bayern Munich hosts Benfica.
Inter Milan's playing Arsenal?
Yeah.
That should be a good game.
Should be
a very good game. So what happens now? Like, there's only so many teams after this round robin make the playoffs. Like, they make the knockout round. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, so the top 8 get a bye, and then the next 16 teams have to play in for the last 8 spots.
And then they go 16.
Yeah, that's like a knockout.
Then it's a knockout after that. Should be interesting.
Should be very interesting.
And some teams that have risen this year, I was listening to some of those Scottish guys on TSN, and they're raving about some of the teams that they didn't expect to show up in Champions League the way that they have this year, which just makes it far more competitive. But one of the things that I've also noticed, talking about the scenery there, Italy is not the biggest country in the world, and Spain isn't the biggest country in the world land-wise.
Sure.
So you got to realize sometimes when these big teams are playing each other, it's like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So I can understand why sometimes the fan situation gets a little out of control because everybody's playing in everybody's backyard.
Basically.
You know what I mean? Which makes the rivalries way more intense. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at North America with the matches up there close. It's always like that. So check out the Championship League this week. Should be good.
Should be very good. To borrow a phrase from you, very cool.
Yes, got you.
We will move this on to the NBA, where we had an ugly statue that I alluded to before, signed off by the man it's based on. Something I could not believe when I heard it. D-Wade got honored, we'll put that in quotes, in Miami with a statue that...
Please say in quotes.
Looks nothing like him. I've heard it looks like Kelsey Grammer. I've heard it looks like who's a Frazier on TV, if you don't know. It basically looks like everyone under the sun except for D-Wade. Exactly.
But you know what the thing that killed me? You hear Wade's reaction to it? He says, how many people do you know get a statue? That was his first response.
I mean, wouldn't you want your statue to look like you?
I thought
those ones outside of Scotiabank. Those ones look like the actual athletes they're supposed to represent.
Well, I'm looking at it this way. Did you see his son's reaction?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. If you see his son, when they unveiled the thing, the son looked at him like, what's up, Dad? You know, and Dwayne just shrugging his shoulder. But this son was looking like, what is that? I thought the thing he looked like most is Harrison Ford when he got frozen.
Oh, in Star Wars?
In Star Wars. That's the one that he looks like the most to me. You know what I mean? Like, oh!
I love people Photoshop the statue face on the picture of D-Wade when he's dunking, when LeBron's doing the pose like that in Miami. That was funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, he's going to a lot of people say that it will be changed. I don't know.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, Dwayne Wade he's sticking to his guns. He's saying, hey, this is the way it got made. This is the way it's going to be. I'm honored. Like, I thought he took the high road on it, really. Because, first of all, it is an honor to get a statue of yourself.
Sure.
However, the results might not necessarily be what you were thinking that you really wanted.
What's the phrase you say? The road to
hell is paved with good intentions. That's a good one there. But I think it's going to remain that way. My thing is, and I told you...
it's just odd.
Yes.
It's very odd.
So let's do this. Let's find the sculptor that did the Ed Reed bust for the NFL Hall of Fame. Now, you know when Ed Reed took off his...
the Football Hall of Fame,
Football Hall of Fame. You haven't seen Ed Reed took off his helmet with all that hair and all that insanity, and you see his bust when he sits beside it. It looks exactly the same. D-Wade, why didn't you call up Ed Reed?
I don't know.
Is it worse than Ronaldo's?
I was going to bring that up next. I think that still takes the cake.
Because of the cross eyes? Yeah, okay, but at least they're saying at least in Ronaldo's he's smiling. In any event, it's been talked about everywhere.
That's a pretty ugly smile.
I think the Ronaldo one is worse.
100%.
But because you knew that what they were trying to do is capture an expression of Dwayne Wade in action, which is kind of tough to do. I think they could have done a better job.
Absolutely. Speaking of doing better jobs, the Toronto Raptors have had a pretty poor start to the season. 1-5 on the year. They sit second to last, tied with Detroit for last in the Eastern Conference as it stands, losing again to the LA Lakers last night. They've been keeping some games close, but
they don't have the firepower. Yeah. Here's another thing about the Raptors, and I was trying to be the most positive guy about this team more than anybody. They've not had their starting lineup in one game this year.
No.
Not one, and that's hurting them. Now, last night, Graydon Dick and R.J. Barrett played their asses off. That kid Sheed's going to be a keeper. He's going to be our Marcus Smart. But if you don't have the scoring touch or the rebounding to go up against those big guys, like Anthony Davis had a feast last night.
Yeah.
With 38 points, 12 rebounds.
11 rebounds, yeah.
Yeah, and just stood in the paint and said,
couple blocks.
Yeah, just stood in there and everything. So I think that I don't want to admit this. This could be a long season for the Raptors unless they get Quickly hasn't played a game.
No.
Scotty Barnes has gone 3 weeks because of that horrible elbow to the face. R.J. Barrett's still not 100%. Who else?
Kelly Olynyk hasn't played a single minute yet.
No.
Bruce Brown, I don't think's played yet.
No, and those guys are all glue guys that make your team to get together. Maybe it'll be the second half run where they'll get respectable, but as of right now,
Jacoby Walter got cleared at least, the rookie.
Oh yeah, and he's looked good. He looked good for his limited time on the floor last night. I do say this, Darko has got them playing that defense. I mean, it breaks down at times, but when they're own zone and they're switching and stuff, they got a lot of athletic guys.
I don't blame Darko. I think this is a purely personnel issue. Even if they had a healthy lineup, I still don't think this Raptors lineup is deep enough.
No, definitely not. However, this is the foundation of what could come in the future tell them to spend some money on a free agent, and you're a year or two away from being a contender, I hope.
So you know college basketball better than me. Who are like the big guys to look out for?
I haven't. We're you know what? I don't like.
Actually, college ball, has that even begun yet?
No, it starts in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I'm not. I don't know. There's a kid out west in UCLA or USC looks good, but I don't really like to talk about it now because there's guys that you always see in the preview and they get injured or something. Like we'll talk about, let's say January 1st.
Apparently games start on Monday.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is it tournament? What is it? One of those tournaments out west, like the Hawaiian tournament or the Puerto Rican tournament? There's a bunch of tournaments that come up.
Oh, maybe it's that then.
Yeah, it's those tournaments. I'm not going to suggest anything about who's going to be great, even though they say this draft is going to be loaded. Loaded with who, I'm not sure. But nothing ever appeals to me until you get to the conference games.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because what ends up happening is it's such a political thing in college basketball. Like, if you're a Duke, you're already going to be ranked.
Actually, I think this is the season because everyone looks like they're just playing at home.
Oh, those might be neutral sites.
I don't know because like everyone, like you look at the home team, it's like they're playing at home.
Okay. So you're telling me that North Carolina's playing Liberty. What's another big team? Kansas is playing...
No, like UNC is playing Elon. I've never even heard.
Elon, that's an elite school. That's like, you're going to Elon, you're probably driving a Mercedes to school. Okay, it's one of those places.
So I was listening to McAfee. Do you know what, this is a little off topic, but do you know what college develops the most CEOs?
Not Stanford, is it?
No, it's not.
West Virginia?
Close. Same kind of area, like Mid-East.
Not Penn State, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Penn State.
Oh, I heard they've got a reputation. So does Northwestern. Like, Penn State is an academic school,
yes,
even though they're football.
And so is Northwestern.
Northwestern is like they're known for their academics. We'll get back on track here for a second, but just say this: Penn State is one of the best schools that balances their academics with their on-field performance. Who have a huge game today in football.
Penn State, we can talk about that during football a little bit, but. Either way, moving back to
the NBA.
The Raptors, they play Sacramento tonight. Sacramento's getting 8.5 from Vegas on the road.
I think that it's going to be an interesting night because it's going to be...
I would take the Raptors to cover. I don't know if they're going to win, but...
I don't know. DeRozan's coming to town.
You think they're going to win by more than
I don't
9
know.
or more?
I'm not sure. Sacramento's been all over the board. They haven't found the rotation yet. I've seen them play a couple times. They got players. You know what I mean? DeRozan's been looking
They've won
great.
3 in a row now.
Yeah, so they got players, and they're going to be coming to town. And DeRozan's going to be looking up there thinking, I wonder if my jersey's going to get, my number's going to be up in those rafters one day.
It should.
That's what I'm saying. Some people are saying.
Put him and Kyle up together.
Oh, 100%. That would be the coolest thing they could do because they were the ones that pushed the Raptors to where they were to eventually win a championship.
100%.
And DeRozan's always called himself the sacrificial lamb.
Which, I mean, fair.
Which is true, but good luck to the Raptors, and I'm not looking forward to tonight because DeRozan's going to have all his boys in the house. I'm not sure, but word around the campfire is that DeRozan still has a piece of property in Toronto. I don't know if
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, because he loves the city. He didn't want to be traded, you know
Nope,
what I mean?
nope.
And I love DeRozan, by the way. He's a savvy veteran now. Still got that one of the best mid-range shots in the game at, what, is he 32 now, 33?
Something like that.
Yeah, so it should be good.
Yeah, that was always his strength.
Yeah, and he's got those Kobe moves.
Yeah.
Those little Kobe moves.
Well, he's from SoCal, yeah.
He's been following Kobe.
Well, LA basically too, right? Yeah.
Out of the womb. But around to the rest of the NBA, things are already getting interesting due to the fact that the one thing okay, go ahead.
I was going to say shout out to Rudy Gay, announced his retirement, former Raptor.
Yes.
Another sacrificial lamb for the Raptors.
Yes, exactly.
We traded him to Sacramento, who we ended up getting a lot of depth for him and basically helps carry the Raptors to that 2014 division title and playoffs. So it'd be Patrick Patterson we got. Yeah. Gravis Vasquez, and who's John Salmons. I mean, he wasn't that good, but
he was a good guy off the bench for depth.
Sure, but it was like Patrick Patterson was the big piece, and
he played good for a while. Then he fell off the cliff.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got some usage out of him.
Oh, 100%.
And then Vasquez, we got some usage out of him, and we ended up getting him to. We talked about this. One of the most lopsided trades in history. We got Norm Powell and OG from that.
Yeah, that was. I'm not bitching about that.
No, I don't know
even though neither guy is on the team anymore, but
hey, but they helped us to a championship.
Oh, by the way, Norm Powell's looking great. For the Clippers, who are 3-3, he's looking good. He looks like a premier scorer on that team right now. Yeah, not that I'm saying it's going anywhere.
Hindsight 2020, that was a bad trade.
Oh, 100%.
For Gary Trent.
Yes, who just got scorched by Morant the other night. Just got
I
scorched.
shouldn't be laughing.
But he got scorched.
He plays for Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
They're struggling early on, and talk is now that they're going to trade Giannis before the trade deadline.
I keep hearing that. And you know who he loves, eh? He loves Masai. No, he's not going to come to Toronto because
not in this state that the team is right now. I've heard.
But imagine if he came on this team with these young guys.
I would love that, but I just don't see it happening.
I don't either, unless they'll be giving up 3 first-round picks or something like that.
The teams that would make the most sense, people are saying Brooklyn because they have a lot to trade, and they're actually off to a pretty decent start.
They don't go nowhere. They're not. I watched Brooklyn. They're good, but they're a step above the Raptors in that they've got more guys with experience playing on the floor.
Sure,
that's all. And they have beaten a couple of teams. Like they beat Memphis, I believe, and who else they beat? Did they beat the Knicks? Or did they beat anybody? I'm not really sure who they've beaten yet. But
let's see. They beat the Grizzlies. They beat the Bucks. And they beat the Bulls.
Yeah. Well, the Bulls, I don't know. They're supposed to be coming out of it. I feel really bad.
But the win in Memphis, that's their best one.
Huge. But here's the thing. Let's go around the NBA really quick.
Hold on. I want to talk a little bit more about Giannis and some potential trade destinations.
Okay. What do you think?
Well, OKC seems like the obvious contender because they're young. They're at the top of their conference. They have all those picks to trade, and they have cap space.
I think that he'd be a bad fit there. I'm going to tell you why. Because they've already got everything going on that they need there. You know what I mean? You look at OKC's lineup, and their depth, they're good. Like, what's he going to do? He's going to take away from Shea now?
Well, I mean, a little bit. But, that's the cost of winning.
I don't see an OKC thing. I see more of an LA Clipper. I think that I don't know if
I don't think the Clippers are going to be able to make that work. Maybe San Antonio is a potential one.
That's a huge one. That one's there because they have cap space.
I would say even like Houston or Sacramento maybe.
He likes what's the coach Yumi Udoko in Houston?
Udoka, yeah.
Udoka. He's a fan of that coach, so it's going to.
I think that's a low key one. I could see. People are saying the Lakers too, but I don't know what the Lakers have to trade.
Lakers, I'm sick of them already. They came into town and they just embarrassed us, and then they threw Bronny on the floor just to make, you know what I mean? Because it seemed like the Raptors are coming back and get close, and every time they got close, Anthony Davis and LeBron would look at it. Yeah, it was a cat and mouse game all night. But one of the things I want to bring up, I don't know where Giannis is going, and I think it would be insane for Milwaukee to do it, but I think they made the mistake in putting so much money into Damian Lillard because he does not look like the Damian Lillard.
No, he looks old. He looks old.
Bobby Portis is not playing the way that he did last year. They've never been able to recover from the Grayson Allen dirty work guy that they needed. So I'm saying Milwaukee should be, like they were predicted to be top 4 in the conference. I'm saying they better be worried about a play. And now it's only 8 games. But what they've shown so far is nothing. You know what I mean? What are they, 1-3, 2 and something?
1-4.
Yeah.
So they're only one spot ahead of the Raptors.
That's what I'm saying. But, I mean, that's going to change naturally with their lineup. What I want to be patting myself on the shoulders about right now, if you remember in our NBA preview, I said the team that could rise is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last time I checked, they're undefeated.
6-0 to start the season. Them and OKC, the only undefeated teams so far in the NBA. But Cleveland, I was completely wrong about them. Credit to you, Cruz.
I said they're going, and Garland had a lot of nagging injuries this year. This year he doesn't. He looks like $1 million on that team. You know what I mean? And they've got Donovan Mitchell. Mm-hmm. And they got Jared Allen, and Mobley is the guy that I said would make the difference, and he's been one of their best players all year. And they got depth on the bench, and they got a new coach.
Yeah, all key things.
You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that I expect them to jump out of the gate at 6-0, but I expect them to be, when we get to April, May, that they're going to be one of the teams that we're talking about.
Are they going to be hyped as the Celtic killers down the stretch?
I don't know, because we should talk about the Boston Celtics this way. They lost in Indiana the other night. Anybody's going to lose to Indiana in Indiana, even though their record to start is a little bit rough.
Sure.
Because I don't.
No, but Indiana's got that great home court advantage. We know that. That's a basketball crazy state.
Exactly. So what went on the other night is we've discussed this. Can the Celtics win again with all this 3-point shooting?
Yes.
Okay. Well, guess what? They weren't quite as hot as Indiana was that night, even though they forced it to overtime. They were down at one point by 18 points, I think, or 15 points, and they came all the way back.
Well, in the fourth, they had a huge fourth quarter. They 38-24.
And not only that, what they did was they did not make the threes, but they went inside to Tatum. See Tatum's numbers again last night? Obviously, we've discussed
37 points against Indiana.
Yeah, and not only that, but he wants the MVP. You know, and Jaylen Brown wants a first-team All-Star in the NBA. So like you said, which I thought was interesting, you got an NBA championship team with a chip on their shoulder?
That's a dangerous thing, my friend.
Oh, I'm telling you. And they've got everybody back. And like we keep saying, Porzingis is not going to be there till Christmas. So if the odds of them winning Boston against the field, I'll bet you a lot of people are taking Boston.
Oh, I would too. Like, why wouldn't you?
They play defense. They play defense. You know what gets them in trouble was when which they wouldn't do in a playoff series. They get into that run and gun with a team like Indiana. Indiana shot a little better and end up winning in overtime. They played a 7-game series. I think that they'd win in 6, maybe even 5. But the fact is, they play better defense. It's just in Indiana, I don't even know if they have a D in their name. They should be called Indiana with the way they play. But they shoot.
Yeah, same as last year, basically.
But they can score from everywhere.
Yeah.
And that kid Mathurin is rising up to be another guy that I said it was going to be. Oh, by the way, I should have stayed with my original pick as Chet Holmgren as being the most improved player in the NBA. I was so happy. I meant to record it. I deleted it so I could show you. My good friend, or not good friend, but a guy I love on TV, you know how much I think of Michael Wilbon. He's predicting that Chet Holmgren will be most improved player in the NBA. That's Wilbon.
Yeah.
You know, and
he also loves OKC.
Oh, he thinks they're winning it all. He says the only team that's going to beat Boston is OKC.
I think that's a little outrageous, but
I do too. Like, what's their pedigree in the playoffs last year? Like, maybe that experience took them on. But the thing I want to talk about the most is my boy Ja Morant, who's by far was the most exciting player in this league in the first few games. By the way, they got 4 guys that are barely even playing. Desmond Bane, who else?
They're not off to a great start, though, 3-3.
No, because they haven't had their full lineup yet. So I'm saying at 3-3, they should be happy. You know what I mean? Because they haven't had their full arsenal for every game all the time.
Okay.
So, and they play some defense. Okay? And this kid, Zach Edey, he looks way better than I thought. And did you see some of the lobs that Ja Morant sets up for this guy? Like, he's going to score 12 points a year as a rookie just standing in the paint. Just stand there, buddy. We'll get the ball to you. You know, I really think that Memphis is one of the most fun teams to watch in the league as we speak. They're so much fun. I hope that my goal would be to see them against OKC to go for the finals. Because I think an OKC Memphis would be good. However,
Dallas might have a thing to say about that.
I was just going to say, we got those guys down in Dallas, and they look solid. By the way, maybe I shouldn't have dumped on Klay Thomas so soon.
Klay
Thompson so soon. I'm not saying that he's going to be all NBA or anything like that.
I told you they didn't sign him for that. They signed him for the player he is now.
Okay, and he's getting 20 a night.
And he's got to be not even their top 2 player on the court.
Nope, not at all. And he gets the open looks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and what's he averaging? I think almost 20 a game.
16.
16, yeah. So he and in his role on the team, it's just perfect.
Exactly.
You know,
catch and shoot guy.
Yes.
He's one of the best at that in the league.
Yes, and I think that the 2 teams that made the big trade, I don't know what it's doing for either team right now. Minnesota came back with an 15-2 run against Denver at home last night to pull the game out.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with Denver yet, because I thought they'd be one of the teams that would rise up again.
They're still hanging in there.
Their bench
isn't that strong,
No,
though.
but what is their record?
2-3.
Yeah, they should be better. And I think that it's going to be down the road they're going to get there, because they still got Michael Porter. They still got Aaron Gordon.
Westbrook hasn't looked good there at all.
Westbrook's looked good from a defensive point of view, but then
his offensive numbers stink.
He puts up threes at the wrong time. First of all, Westbrook,
that's classic Westbrook.
You can't Westbrook. A couple times during the game he put up shots he shouldn't have put up.
That's my big pet peeve. That's why I've never liked Russell Westbrook that much. He tries to do that hero ball thing, just jacking up the wrong shot, the wrong time. You're like, what are you doing?
With 16 seconds left on the shot clock, like shit like that. But I think that he'll
just like bounces like off the connecting piece of like the rim in the backboard, is a boom like straight up.
But I don't think that he'll be a viable piece on defense once they get down the road. That's what I'm thinking.
I hope so for Denver's sake.
Yes. Oh, it better be. But the two teams I was also talking about with the trade is I don't know where they're going to be at right now. I think the Knicks are going to be fine.
They're okay to start.
Yeah. The team that like
the East is kind of weak, so they can afford to
I don't think
have a little bit of growing pains.
The East is as weak as everybody's saying.
There's only 3 teams above 500.
Because they're all beating the shit out of each other already. So that's not a bad thing, I guess. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. But I don't think that the West is strong. Like, I think that Phoenix Suns have surprised me. They're playing a little bit better than I thought. And, of course, the Lakers, like their record already. Nobody's expecting the Lakers to do
Golden
anything.
State is the most surprising. 4-1 to start the season. Like, what the hell happened there?
Good coaching, Steve Kerr.
2 wins in a row against the Pelicans as well.
And I think the Pelicans are going to be okay. Their problem is their defense is a little bit sketchy.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be jumping on the Anthony Edwards Ant-Man bandwagon as big as I want to because there just seems something about Minnesota where Randall is playing a little bit too, I guess it's down the road because there's only 6 games. He's playing a lot of iso ball.
Could they make a trade for Giannis? Use Julius Randle as a trade chip?
That would be the team that I would say would look good. Giannis with Ant-Man, ooh, and all those other role players on Minnesota because they've got they play D.
Yeah.
But they don't, like, if Ant's off and Gobert, he's a bitch. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? He's probably going to be one of the candidates for Defensive Player of the Year the other night. But you see the kid stood in front of him last night? Braun. The guy's at the college one year at Kansas. He goes over Gobert and makes a shot, and he gives him the muscle thing in front of Gobert. Gobert just gave him a smack in the head. It was and nobody got fouled. Which is another thing we're going to be talking about all year. When is a foul not a foul? Who gets the fouls? When the fouls are called? And you referees, what are you doing? Don't give us a 2-minute report. I'm sick of that. Every time I hear something about the 2-minute report, I want to puke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to tell you where we fucked up this game.
I don't get who that helps.
Nobody. What is it going to do? Is that so you can grade the referees and say you don't get this game?
It's not going to fix my bet that I got wrong last night because of that call.
Oh, you think gambling has anything to do with this? Really? Gambling? Come on, stop it.
I thought that's what made the world go round.
Pretty much these days, it's like the gerbil on the track. Someone's constantly making those bets for everything. But I don't see, like I said, it's only a 6-game start. We'll probably start doing our power rankings around the 20th game. But so far, so good. There's been some very interesting games.
Absolutely.
And I really think that Wembanyama, who is such a great player, a lot of pressure on that kid. You know what I mean? And does he have the right pieces around him yet? I think Harrison Barnes is great. Yeah. Harrison Barnes, the professionally he is, he looks great.
Oh, and Chris Paul, come on.
Oh, he's coaching him on the floor. But Wemba, his problem is, to me, he looked bad against Holmgren the other night because Holmgren stayed in the paint and Wemby didn't. Like, he was too much on the perimeter.
Holmgren's also a couple years older, though.
I know you.
So I think give Wemby. You need to give him a little bit of time to fill out.
I've heard that Kendrick Perkins, who I love, says that he figures by the All-Star break, Wemby might be the best player in the league.
A lot of people have been saying that.
I don't see it yet.
I don't see that either.
Like, I know his potential's through the roof. He's only 20 years old.
Well, he had another 5, whatever. Like, so at least 5 in each of points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He's done it twice in his career. He's the youngest guy to do it twice.
Exactly. And, you know, I love him on my fantasy team. You know?
Yeah, he had a big 25, 9, 7, 5, and 5 against Utah in Utah on Halloween night.
Yeah, that was a good game for him, especially after his performance against OKC. Yeah. So,
and Utah, only team without a win so far, 0-5 to start.
And we thought that they might be making some noise.
I didn't. That was you.
I thought they might make some noise. They don't look very good. The owner, what's Brian Smith? He's on the sidelines with his hat on backwards. The frown, the smile.
I think you're going to say his hat covering his face.
Well, he's had a couple of those moments where he's looked like he's looking in his beer. You know what I mean? The greatest owner, though, is Steve Ballmer.
Oh.
Going away. Did you see him at the game?
I mean, he's the same. You know you're going to get out of him.
Oh, but I love it. You're the owner of the team, and you're in the middle of the crowd, and you're leading the chants.
He's like moving all around in his chair. Like,
he's just
how's he not smack his wife in the face by accident when he's like got his arms flailing all over?
It's just so much fun. But not only that, he's got a great playpen now.
Yeah.
That's state-of-the-art playpen.
I want to go there so bad.
Me too now, and I've seen it. I go, what a stadium, that's going to be
That's pretty close to the old LA Coliseum, is it not?
Yeah, because where they took it out, he bought the land. And
no, the Coliseum's still up, though.
But I think they're gonna knock it out of there. He's got something to do with that land.
I don't know. Maybe.
Something like that, I don't know.
Because they just had a concert there pretty recently, so.
Yeah, some big LA rap thing, didn't they?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Either way, anything else for basketball?
Not at the moment. I just want to say a speedy, quick recovery to our good buddy Scotty Barnes.
Absolutely. We'll move us along to their sister league, so to speak, the NHL, where the Maple Leafs snapped the Winnipeg Jets' perfect start, and the Leafs actually have quite the good record against Winnipeg ever since Mark Scheifele infamously said how good it was to beat the Leafs.
Well, he should have kept his mouth shut.
Bulletin board material is a real thing, people.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay, so let's do our little Toronto Maple Leaf report. Let's cut to the chase here. I'm not quite sure what this team is yet.
I don't think they know yet.
No, I don't think they either. But what I've noticed is about this, and I'm going to give Berube credit. Toronto is one of the best breakout teams in the league. You know when they break out that pond hockey breakout? But a lot of teams, especially Florida, they break it up the middle. So what ends up happening is, I've noticed that Berube's got them playing in a straight line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you go up and down the ice, you hold your checks, cover your man, and all of the above. Okay, so now they had a little bit of a fall off there for a couple of games that they shouldn't have lost. But I think they're going to be fine. And the great thing is Wall's performance the other night.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I wish he could have, or the team could have helped him hold on to that shutout. But
that doesn't matter because now you've got a tandem that looks like it could be a tandem.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think, what's his name? The guy got from Florida, the defenseman. How do you say his name again? Ekman Larson. I think he's a key guy on this team. Notice he's been on the ice in all key situations lately for the Leafs, even a little bit more than Riley.
Well, they've been pairing him with Riley lately.
Yeah, a little bit more than Tanev, especially in the in tight situations in the game, or especially in their defensive zone coverage. Those two seems to be out there more than who was he playing with? Tanev. And Tanev's been solid.
I don't have any complaints about Tanev.
No, I think that...
my worry about that contract was how's that back nine of that going to look?
Well, that's another story.
Yeah.
My thing is my boy, Benoit, who's been all over the board.
Yeah.
Like he's been playing great, and then he's on the ice for that bad goal.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be fine, don't you?
I mean, as a third pair guy, I think he's okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And you know what he does? His problem is I've noticed is that Berube's added a bit of a grit to this team. So suddenly Toronto has gone from being the top 5 in teams that don't get penalties to top 5 team that gets penalties in one season. That's a big change. And thank God their penalty kill is what? Top 3 in the league?
Yeah, but you're playing with fire doing that, doing
100%.
those penalties all the time.
100%.
That's a big worry for me.
What I'm saying is this, is that you want that toughness. You want that grit. You want them playing that way. However, like you say, you keep getting all those penalties. Eventually someone's going to kick you in the head for it. Another thing I want to say, and I want to tell everybody in my neighborhood that's walking around with their dogs, Austin Matthews is just fine.
He's made some bonehead plays, though.
Okay, he's made 2 bad ones that are glaring. He went right to the press conference and bought it, eh?
Oh, as he should.
He's
the captain.
Yeah, he went right to the press conference. That impressed me about him because this is his first time as a captain, but walked right up the microphone and said, hey, I got to play better. That's the reason why we lost this game, especially the overtime to Boston.
Oh, yeah.
He just walked up and said, hey. But that's one of those plays. I don't think it's going to happen a lot. It's one of those plays where Marner and Matthews always seem to know where each other is. So Marner broke for the bench on that play.
Yeah.
Where he thought he was going to be still in the play. So by the time Matthews turned, because it was kind of a no-look pass.
It was a no-look pass.
Okay, and then who did he ended up giving it to? OG. Shit happens.
You give Brad Marchand his first goal of the season.
I hate that guy. I will always hate him.
Mr. Team Canada.
Get out of here. In any event, I think that you're going to be winning the argument we had discussing about Slavkovsky as compared to Matthew Knies. Turning into a power forward right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's a keeper.
Oh, he's 100%. Now, the question is, and if I was Knies, I would say no. You know, around the league where they try to sign these guys now, really quick to say, here's your money, take it before you get your 40 goals and we got to pay you a bag load. Do you think the Leafs should offer him that contract already? I say no. And if I was Knies, I'd say no.
I don't even know where you go with him. I would maybe try and bridge him. Well, just because of the Leafs contract situation.
Exactly. So what, they'll give him 2 more years at what, 6?
Give him like a 2 or 3 year deal.
At 6?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah, he's going to have to get 5 or 6. What did he score last year? He didn't score 20, did he?
No, I don't think so.
But he's going to score 20 this year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's already at 6.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to score 20, no problem. He doesn't look out of place as a first-line winger. He knocks people off the puck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
He knocks people off the puck. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, last year he had 15.
Yeah, he'll get 20 this year, easy, if not closer to 30. I think it's very interesting that Berube has been tinkling with the lines because suddenly he got some chemistry out of that Tavares, Nylander, Pacioretty line.
Yeah.
You know?
Pacioretty looks very good with Tavares, actually.
Very good. And Nylander's the one that's directing traffic. Mm-hmm. You know, I think Nylander's a 40-goal guy, again, no problem. I really like the fact that his personality is showing up so much more this year because he was always the quiet guy in the corner. But walk up to the coach and say, why don't I get more ice time? Ooh, that's Berube you're talking to. You know what I mean?
Well, everyone wants more ice time. I think that's
But the fact that he came out publicly and said that, this is the most dramatic thing that Nylander's did in his career in Toronto. Come on. The guy up in his mouth, he just didn't look hot and chicks chasing him. He was on, okay, coach, I would need a little bit more time. Berube's answer was excellent. Depends on the game, depends on how you're playing, and depends on the situation. What better coach-ease than that? You know,
that sounds like a parent saying maybe.
I had that feeling when I said it. But I'm glad that what impressed me is that he's raising his profile. I'm just not a guy that scores 40 goals and skates around the ice looking pretty. He's actually saying, hey, which bodes well for the later in the season. Because I still think Toronto is going to be number 1 in the league. I think Florida is going to fall back. I really do. Like, they're looking good. They're first in their division and everything, and they beat Dallas.
Second place in the entire league.
Exactly, but I'm just saying it's going to catch up to them. They played some shit teams.
I don't think so at all.
No? You think they're going to be there? We're going to see. I
think they're too strong still.
I think their defense isn't as good as it was last year. That's the thing that I'm questioning it.
They have the best defensive forward in the league, though, and they're just not afraid to crush you.
No, and they're
arguably one of the best goalie tandems too. Yeah,
they're going to beat you to death. Now their depth in goaltending is another problem, but Brar,
I don't think so at all.
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, well, they got Spencer Knight back there. He's got some high pedigree.
Yeah, what's what they're saying? And he only has to play about 30 games.
There you go.
But I'd like to look around the league since we've talked about our NHL preview. Because
hold on, more about the Leafs. A lot happened.
Oh, the McCabe contract?
So McCabe got a 5-year extension, 4.51. That one
caught me off guard.
Caught me off guard, too. I knew they were looking to sign him, but I did not see a 5-year deal. Next year, he's going to be the second highest paid defenseman on the team. Well,
who else would be getting more money? Larson will. Eventually, and Tanev will get more money.
They've signed big, long-term deals.
That's right. What's Tanev getting?
Tanev's getting 4.5, so McCabe's like a hair above him, and then Ekman Larson's getting like 3.75 or something.
Wow. And McCabe's only 29, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing because sometimes they say this is the prime of a defenseman. So if he's a number 4 defenseman on your team for the next 5 years, you can't complain.
No.
He's responsible in his own end.
Sure.
He's never going to be no offensive powerhouse.
No.
But
although I'm worried that we just paid a guy who just had a career season in terms of points. You're like, oh, how's this going to work out? I've seen this one before, but
and he doesn't get much power play time.
None, especially now with Ekman Larsson on the team.
So that's going to affect his point total. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then the Leafs also making a trade, sending Timothy Liljegren to San Jose for Matt Benning, a conditional 2025 third, which is going to be the higher or the earlier between Edmonton and Colorado's thirds this year, and a 6th-round pick in 2026. Although apparently they don't really have many plans for Benning right now. They're just going to use him as a trade chip down the line.
That's probably what's going to happen. But Liljegren was not a Berube guy.
Absolutely not. He had a pretty poor start, even by his own admission.
Yeah, no, he owned up to it. I like the way that the team said goodbye, because I guess he's a great guy in the dressing room. So you never heard anything but good things about and good luck to him, which I think is a very, very good sign of a guy's character. He just wasn't tough enough.
No.
You know?
He's going to get a lot of playing time now in San Jose, so I hope it works out for him.
All the time in the world. You know what I mean? He's in San Jose. He'll get power play time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the Leafs also send Connor Dewar and Yanni Hakanpää to the Marlies on a conditioning sit, so basically the clock starts for them to come up to the NHL. I imagine Philippe Myers is going to be one of the guys who comes down once Hakanpää comes up. But who's going to be sent down for Connor Dewar seems to be the question mark.
Oh, that is huge.
I'm wondering if they're just going to bite the bullet and send Ryan Reeves to the minors.
That would be the best thing to me, because I'm still a Nick Robertson fan, and everyone says he's out there skating like crazy.
No, well, you got to expose him to waivers too. That's the only guy who you don't have to expose to waivers is Matthew Knies, and like they're not sending down Matthew Knies.
No, definitely not. But I'm feeling bad for Nick Robertson, because first of all, I don't think he's playing with people that are fast as him.
No,
a lot of times he gets in a position he doesn't get the puck, and then he was a healthy scratch. What are you doing to the guy's confidence?
Well, he's only been scratched once this year?
Once. That's one too many. You know, you got scratched for Ryan Reeves.
You're a bottom six guy. That's life in the league, Cruz.
Exactly. Well, I heard the big reason is because they wanted a little tougher lineup. What did he play against? Winnipeg? Or was it Seattle? I think it was Winnipeg. He didn't play
Winnipeg,
against.
Yeah. Because Ryan Reeves is from Winnipeg, too.
Yeah, so they gave him that kind of look. But, I mean, don't play with the guy's confidence. I still think he's got 20 goals in that stick.
Maybe.
You know, but who has he been playing with? He's been playing with Kampf, and who else?
Yeah.
Bunch of bricklayers.
Guys, yeah.
Yeah, bricklayers. And he's an offensive player. How do you get to show your skills when you're not getting the puck? But he's not getting in the top six anytime soon.
No, not happening.
And he's not getting much power play time. Yeah, but there's 30 seconds.
He's still in the second unit, though. He's getting some playing time out there. He's fired off some nice shots.
He's had some great chances. I just hope it gets better for him, because there's no way he's going to clear waivers. And,
no.
But would someone claim Ryan Reeves, do you think?
I'd be shocked. With that he's still got another year on that contract.
He never plays a shift more than 30 seconds. Never.
That's how they teach you to play.
Well, agreed, but, I mean, his 30 seconds looks a lot shorter than a lot of other guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's still a defensive liability.
Sure. I mean, I'm really interested to see if they bite the bullet on that.
I think it's coming.
I think so, too, especially since he's been a healthy scratch a couple times already.
Yep. And sometimes when they're playing the faster teams, he's out of place. He's a liability, even if he's your fourth liner. You know what I mean? Especially if it's an icing situation, then automatically
yeah.
And then he's out on the ice, and he's against what? All of a sudden, you notice every time with Toronto, if they get an icing, if it's that fourth line, the first line of the other team bounces on the ice immediately, which every coach would do.
Exactly.
You know?
But yeah, it's going to be, by this time next week, we should know, because usually conditioning stint, that's 2 games?
I think they're going to down there longer.
I don't think that's allowed.
Oh, they can only play something?
I think conditioning stint, I think that's a rule. It's only for 2 or 3 games.
I thought it was 5.
5?
I think
okay,
it's
so
5.
So maybe
we'll check
they can
it out
push
and
it.
find out. But I think that's going to make some interesting chess moves by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I'm interested to see Hakanpää. And we know Connor Dewar is a good fourth line guy, can play some penalty kills, so he's going to be a welcome re-addition.
Hakanpää is the key. Everyone's looking for what he's
I'm worried about that knee, though. We know it's bone on bone, basically.
Yes,
at least according to the rumors, if you're to believe that.
Of course it is. Now, what did I just want to say about, we were talking about the Leafs. I had something interesting. Oh, I think that you should put forward the proposition that once we traded Liljegren to San Jose, an interesting factor came up that you told me about, and I tried to do a little research, the London night drafting situation.
Oh, yes. So this is a potential story. So Elliot Friedman on his podcast, 32 Thoughts, was saying how he got a tip from someone about, so when the Leafs took Liljegren, 17th overall, I believe it was in 2017,
Yep.
Robert Thomas got drafted 2 spots after. Robert Thomas was a London Knight. And, of course, at that time, famously, Mark Hunter was running the Leafs draft. Part owner or co-owner with his brother of the London Knights, of course. So that raises the question, why didn't the Leafs draft Robert Thomas, knowing all this information that they know now? And then Friedman was saying he got tipped that maybe there was some concern in the Leafs organization that there was maybe too much of a London Knights connection there. So, but that sounds like it's a story for another day. But food for thought for now.
100%. And I hope it's not just urban legend, but let's just see this. After that draft and stuff, it was a very short time later that Mark Hunter disappeared.
Well, he left after he didn't get the GM job.
Of course, which was a big talk. So where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
So there should be.
And all that talk's ironic, especially since when Dubitz got in charge, he just put Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds everywhere.
Interesting point. When I looked at the roster, like I got my little book here to say where people come from. And
his first ever draft pick as GM was Rasmus Sandin. Where did he play junior hockey? Sault Ste. Marie.
And where is he now?
Washington.
I think he's a fifth liner guy. Or
I thought he was your boy.
I thought he was going to be better, but he's. You know what the question about him is? He's just not tough enough. You're right. He's a great skater.
He shies away.
Oh, yeah. I was watching the Washington game the other night. And Washington is a surprise team in the league, I think.
You know what's funny, too? So all the guys from that Marlies championship team, they're all gone.
Because none of them made it. They weren't good enough. You know,
a couple of them you thought were going to make it, though. Like Liljegren, Dermott was on that team.
Oh, yeah.
Andreas Janssen was MVP. I thought he was going to be a good forward. It just never panned out for him, I guess.
Well,
there was another, guy on that team too that was we all thought was going to be good.
The problem is you can be in the A, you can be the best scorer in the league in the AHL. You get the NHL, the game changes.
Sure, but I mean, some of these guys seemingly had the tools. That's the odd thing.
Well, that's what they're saying, and it's how you develop them. Like one of the weird things that antidotes I see in this league is because Seattle was in town this week, they were talking about the Shane Wright situation. Mm-hmm. And his development so far. Now, he's been playing a little bit better. He's basically their third-line center, which isn't too bad on that team. But they also connected to the fact that because Seattle's got the first female coach, and she's doing a fabulous job. She runs their power play, which is top 10 in the league. But she was one of the ones that tutored Shane Wright in the minors with a couple of other guys, including one of their defensemen. So I think that's continuity on the part of Seattle, and adding Montour was huge.
And they promoted their head coach, Dan Bylsma, from Palm Springs as well.
And there was another connection there with it, too. So I like the continuity of Seattle. I think they're going to be a competitive team. Will they make the playoffs? A lot of teams.
I'll still say yes.
You say yes?
Yeah.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight because I was
that's the West.
Yeah, but not only that, I thought the Kings wouldn't make the playoffs. They're surprising me.
Oh, they're proving us wrong.
They got players, and they got defensemen. I didn't realize, even though they lost Doughty, they got 4 guys.
And they lost Matt Roy to Washington as well.
There you go. But, I mean, they got 4 guys back there that can skate and shoot. You know what I mean?
Goaltending is still an issue with that team.
Yes. Yes. And it's
very much an issue.
And it's only a dozen games, and I think maybe they're playing a little bit above their head. But we're going to have to wait and see on that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Boston, last place in the Atlantic. That's a shocker to me.
Oh, what did I tell you in the preview? Well, eventually it's got to happen. Now,
mind you, it's a 3-way tie for last between Montreal, Buffalo, and Boston.
I think it's we'll see where that's going to go.
But Boston, minus 13 goal differential.
With those defensemen.
And that goalie.
Swayman hasn't played as well.
I know he hasn't played well.
And when Corpusalo comes in, he hasn't looked all that great either. But my take is they've got the biggest defense core in the league. Average size, 6'4", 220. That's a lot of knocking people around. And Boston's top 2 lines are still pretty good, even though I'm seeing a little bit of a fall off in Marchand. Yeah. Like his burst to the net isn't what it used to be.
No.
You know what I mean? And Father Time is a champion.
Undefeated, as it were.
Undefeated, so to speak. So I'm saying that I'm happy to say before the season started that Boston would not be the team that everyone thinks they're going to be, and they're already looking like they're in trouble. Only 12 games, though.
Yeah, we'll see. Although, I guess we're at November, so Elliot Friedman has a stat where if you're 4 points back by this time, you're in trouble. And luckily for Boston, they're only 2 points out.
Yeah, so you got
because the East is fucking shit.
Oh, no two ways about it. The best division in the league is the Central Division with Dallas, Minnesota.
We're starting to sound like a broken
Colorado.
record. The Central's always such a stacked division.
It's more stacked this year, you know what I mean? And with the Wild coming up, love that call on my part. You know the thing about the Wild that really blows my mind? The only guy that really stands out in that team is
Kaprizov.
And he's having a great season, but go look at their defenseman with, who is it,
Faber, yeah.
Oh, he's going to play for Team Canada, don't you think?
He's American.
Oh, is he? Who's the other guy on the team?
Faber's probably going to make Team USA, though.
Oh, yeah, he's going to make Team... Wait a second here. I got it in my notes. They got another guy on that team with him that's really
Brodin?
Good. Yeah, I like really him,
He's
too.
Been there a long time, too.
But, I mean, why didn't we notice him before?
I knew about him.
Well, I did too, but I wasn't paying attention to him. You know what he reminds me of in the same kind of vein, because he didn't get all the press that he did, but he was so solid for Florida, is your boy now.
Ekman Larson?
Yeah.
I was just going to say that too.
That's what he...
Like a steady second line, puck moving defenseman can kind of do it all.
Knocks people on their ass. I got it down here. They got actually 4 guys that really, really impressed me. Like on their defense, and they're all big boys.
No, they have Spurgeon, but I don't think he's played too much this year.
No, he's coming back now. He's just played the last 3 years. So when he gets to be 100%, look out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Dallas isn't going away. Even they lost to Florida yesterday. I think they're going to beat Florida today over in Finland. That game should be going on.
Winnipeg keeps just trucking on through. 10-1 on the year.
Kyle Connor.
Do you think he scores 50 this year?
He may score 50. Is he going to be in the Four Nations Cup?
For Team USA? He has to be. He has to be.
He's got to be. He's one of their guys, right? Because their forwards are going to be good. The other team that I'm saying that before the season started that I was looking at and I'm saying they're going to be there is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, sure. If you didn't pick the Hurricanes to make the playoffs, like you're a fool.
I picked them to go farther than that. And they look solid. You know what I mean?
7-2 to start the year, but the Metropolitan, the top of that division's insane.
Yes.
I mean, New Jersey's played a little bit more, so their record's I guess a little inflated. But New York Rangers 7-2-1, Capitals 7-2, Hurricanes 7-2, Columbus somehow above 500.
Surprise team, but they skate so well, eh?
I know, but
they skate so well, and I think that's part. They don't give up. They don't have all the talent that everybody does. I think that's going to farm its way out. I do not think that Washington's going to stay in this lofty position for too long.
I think Washington's being underrated. I don't think they're going to finish at this pace, obviously, but if you look up and down their lineup, they're getting production.
They're not bad. Yes, not only that, but look at who they played. They haven't played anybody of significance yet. They have, but they haven't. But,
they beat the Rangers.
That was
a good game. They beat the Devils. They beat the Stars. They beat the Golden Knights.
Okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because Vegas is coming back with a vengeance.
Absolutely.
They're looking like a good team. Like if you said right now, what are the teams that really impressed you so far? The 4 big teams to me are Vegas, Carolina, Minnesota, and someone in the East.
Not Winnipeg?
Oh, and Winnipeg. Yeah, they're there too. But there's Washington has been a complete surprise to me. Complete, where they're sitting at. All the other teams at the top in the East, I expect them to be there. I expect it to look like that for the rest of the season, and I still expect Toronto to win that division.
I wish I had your confidence.
Well, you should be. Wait a second. I never got the chance to do that. After you berated your team so badly last week, aren't you happy with the 2 solid wins they got this week? They beat an undefeated team, and then they come into Seattle, which was on a bit of a roll.
Sure, but it doesn't really change my mind about where I think they stand this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
At some point, losing becomes a pattern. It becomes second nature. It becomes part of the culture. That hasn't changed. It's the same guys.
Have you had a beer with Jeff O'Neill lately?
No, but maybe I should.
You should.
One thing I was thinking about last night is maybe did the Leafs hang on to those guys as part of those Brian Burke, Dave Nonis teams, like the Gardners, the Van Riemsdyk, the Bozaks? They hang on to those guys too long and let them kind of mingle in with the Matthews-Marner era.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
Interesting point.
That, and then, of course, Babcock being a fucking douchebag. Him having a victim every day that he would just pick on ruthlessly.
Where is he now?
Nowhere
home. To be found.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a guy with his hockey knowledge, you don't ever know what's in the back of someone's mind, eh? It's just insane. But anyways.
A few other teams I want to get to. So Calgary, is this finally when we see them start to fall off a little bit?
Had a great game last night.
Sure.
Great game last night, but I don't see them going far.
Edmonton's starting to poke their heads up, so I think they're going to make the old switcheroo there.
With McDavid gone for the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Well, they're winning without him.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. You can't go forever without a guy like McDavid. I hope.
No, but 2 or 3 weeks, that's doable.
They say that he could possibly miss 10 games. They better go 500 in those 10 games.
Sure.
Because you can't be falling. They can't have another start like last year. You don't come back like that all the time.
No.
So that's what I'm saying about them.
And Pittsburgh is having a absolutely disgusting start to the season. 4-7-1 to start on the year, 4th last in the entire league. Only teams below them are San Jose, who's all of a sudden San Jose's hot. They've won 3 in a row.
That's not going anywhere.
No, but I mean, like, hey, we were wondering when this team was going to get their first win. They nail off 3 in a row, so you got to give them some credit, right?
I do too, and they skate well, and they got some good young players.
And Nashville, I'm wondering about them. It's looking like they're starting to pull it together, but another 2 losses in a row.
Yes.
I'm still on Team Nashville there. I don't know if they're going to be top 3 in the division anymore, but I mean, certainly in the playoffs. They should. Yes. And then Chicago's struggling a bit.
Chicago's not going anywhere.
Your Habs. I wanted to mention about Mishkov. I don't think we have time. What's going on with
best rookie? Booked best rookie in the year.
Yeah, hands down.
What's going on with my Habs? First of all, the defensive core is a mess. They can't figure out who to play.
Oh, but they're all big.
They are big, but I don't know, like, Matheson's on the power play, and then the next shift he's looking bad on a goal. Lane Hudson's playing left. Hudson. Yep. He's playing left wing. I don't care what anyone says about that kid. He's going to be great. He better learn to play defense. He's a defenseman. So for every spectacular offensive play you see, he gets brutalized on a bad defensive play. And here's his other problem. He's got to put a few more pounds on because he can't move anybody out in front of the net.
Yeah.
That's a big, big problem. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
next week we'll have some more time to discuss a lot of this. We're a little tight for time today, so we'll just move it over to our Saturday night pick'em.
And I'm ready to go.
All right, first up, we have the second of 2 games in Finland between the Dallas Stars and the Florida Panthers. Florida's technically the home team, but you are going with Dallas. I am on the Stars as well since they lost yesterday. A little bit of a revenge matchup. Boston Bruins at the Philadelphia Flyers.
Philly all day.
I'm going to take Boston on the road.
I'm taking Philly all day.
Chicago Blackhawks at the LA Kings. I'm on the Kings.
I'm on the Kings too.
Columbus Blue Jackets at the Washington Capitals. I'm on Washington.
I'm on the Blue Jackets.
Ooh.
I'm taking the Blue Jackets.
Seattle Kraken at the Ottawa Senators. Seattle's been struggling a little bit lately, especially out east. I'm going to take the Sens to win at home.
I'm taking the Kraken to win because I'll play tighter. They didn't play bad against Toronto. They couldn't score. They smoked Montreal.
Yeah.
Which isn't saying much, unfortunately. But I think that they're going to upset Ottawa. I don't think Ottawa's still got issues.
Ottawa's a good home team, though, on Saturday.
Well, we'll see. I'm saying Seattle going to steal the win.
Buffalo at Detroit. I will be going to Detroit in a few weeks to watch the Leaf game, by the way.
That's very cool.
So Buffalo at Detroit. I'm going to take the Red Wings at home because Buffalo's been awful on the road so far.
I'm taking the Red Wings, too.
Montreal Canadiens at the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to take Pittsburgh because they are usually solid Saturday night at home.
Well, I'm going to do the reverse jinx, and I'm taking the Penguins, too. Okay, how's that sound? Youpie, help me out. Radika, I'm holding him in my hands now, and I'm squeezing him tight. Do something tonight, guys. Oh, we look terrible sometimes in our own end, eh? Oh.
Toronto Maple Leafs at the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to take the Leafs to steal this one on the road.
I think so, too, especially after they lost to St. Louis last time, the way that they lost. I think they're going to come out and say, hey, we're not taking this shit again. St. Louis is a funny team, too. I can't figure them out.
They're not, well, they're below 500, too, right? So.
They were just above, then they lose 2 in a row?
Yeah.
And it's still early. It's 12. I'm not saying they're going to threaten anybody, but show up when you play them.
Colorado Avalanche at the Nashville Predators. I'm going to take Nashville to bounce back at home.
I'm taking Colorado to keep on rolling. They're up and down, though. Eh? Win 5, lose 2. Win 3, lose 3. And
they lose games they should win. So that's why I'm picking Nashville.
So you know what I don't understand about Colorado? Cale Makar is one of the best-looking players I've seen. Because you know me, I'm watching hockey all the time. I watched 2 games yesterday afternoon, and I had taped on from the night before. Like, if I don't watch them, I just PBR, go to bed, and I get up in the afternoon, walk the dog, come home and watch games. What we're just saying about the Avs, Cale Makar has played as good as anybody in the league this year. He looks unbelievable. How is he -7?
Because he's always out there. He doesn't have his boy.
That makes a difference, too.
David Tays, not healthy.
And every time he's out there, it seems he's playing with a different guy. But him personally, as a player, he's one of the best-looking players I've seen in the league.
Utah HC at the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm going to take Vegas to take this one at home.
Oh, no doubt about it. That should be the lock of the night.
And Vancouver Canucks at the San Jose Sharks. I'm going to take Vancouver to break San Jose's 3-game win streak.
And Vancouver can't afford to lose against these teams because it's pretty tight where they are right now, and they don't have Demko. So they got to get every win they can.
So you're going with Vancouver?
Yes, I am.
All right. Not too many games, only 11 on the docket. But we will.
It's a big college football day. That's why.
I guess so, yeah. We'll move this along to the NFL, where we'll start with our power rankings. I guess I'll begin. Number 5, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. Number 3, your Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, wait a second here, okay? Let's get something straight. How in the hell can you take Baltimore to be ahead of the Detroit Lions? How? Can you explain that to me? Give me one reason why you think that they're better. Because God won for Cleveland?
Derrick Henry.
God won. Didn't you hear Jameis Winston say? Jameis Winston? If it wasn't for God, they wouldn't have done nothing. I didn't see God block nobody. I didn't see him run back a kick. I didn't see him do any of that shit. So how in the hell are we talking like that? Now, what I said last week, everybody, and don't listen to me ever again, I stood in this show and said why 3 teams would not cover or win due to the fact it's division or whatever. I bet against all 3, and all 3 I was wrong. Why didn't I go with my original assessment? So if you're a person that really believes in what you're thinking, or maybe don't overthink, is the word, then stick to your guns. Okay, where's my power rankings? I had them here. Okay, so my power rankings are number 5, Baltimore Ravens. I'm keeping them at number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, I'm going to stick with the Washington Commanders. Okay. Number 3, where's the standings again? I'm missing. Number 1 is going to be Kansas City. Number 2 is going to be Detroit. And number 3, who did I have? Who am I missing? Oh, Eagles.
Oh.
I'm putting the Eagles back in there. I didn't think I had them. I had them at 6. I had Baltimore at 5th. I had the Commanders at 4. Who am I missing? Kansas City, Detroit. I'm missing somebody. Big.
I don't know.
I had it written down here. I can't seem to find it. Because I had... I did have Pittsburgh. I really considered Pittsburgh, but I don't think they have enough offense, and I thought it would be Buffalo. I had the Buffalo Bills, number 3.
Okay.
Commanders, number 4, and Baltimore, number 5. I couldn't put Baltimore any there because, first of all, the thing that Baltimore and Detroit have in common is their secondaries are atrocious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what scares me about Detroit. We're playing Green Bay this week. That could get scary. Now, let's just talk about it. Do you know that Baltimore's given up more points in the fourth quarter than any team in the NFL?
Is that so?
Something like that. Our top 3. And you're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender?
Well, I think it's going to be the same story with them every year. They're probably just going to choke to the Chiefs in the championship game again.
Well, they shouldn't do that, but they were up again in the fourth quarter. Every game, what's their record now, 5-3?
Yeah.
Every game they've lost in the fourth quarter. They've given up the lead in the fourth quarter. One of them, they've given it up with less than 2 minutes left in the game. Is that 2 now? Because Cleveland scored with less than 2 minutes left, too, right? And
yes,
if Buddy makes the interception when Winston threw that horrible pass, and how can that guy not catch that?
I don't understand.
You're an all-pro corner, and you drop that one in the lap. You know what it is? It's one of the classic things that we talk about all the time. The guy was already pick 6, dancing in the end zone, because he had a clear shot right there to go.
Yeah.
And what happens now, I'm not talking about Baltimore, because I was saying last week, except for you got to respect Kansas City's undefeated record and their defending championship, so you got to give them their props. But I thought Baltimore was right there until after last week. They got to do something about their back end, because a big scoring team that's throwing at them could cause them trouble.
Sure.
And that division is not going away, because they still got to play Cincinnati one more time. Mm-hmm. And Joe Burrow is not giving up.
No, he's not.
You know what I mean? And do you think Pittsburgh's going to stay with their 6-2 record?
Well, I mean, they're probably a lock for a wild card spot, wouldn't you say? Probably the top wild card in the AFC.
I'm not saying that yet. Let's just quickly go around the divisions as we speak in the AFC. We'll go west to east. If you go out west, the only team...
Yeah, I'd like to keep it very, very... I don't know if we have time for that, but...
Okay, quickly, if you're going to look at it, Kansas City's in there.
Yeah.
Houston's going to be in there.
Yeah.
Baltimore's going to be in there. Buffalo's going to be in there. Okay, so who's going to be left over?
Although Houston's stranglehold on the South maybe not looking as tight as it was a few weeks ago.
You think Indianapolis can sneak up on them?
Why not?
I don't think they're going to win this week, for starters. Let's just go with that. But
well, Houston didn't win either, so they hold even.
But that was a tough game for Houston. You know what I mean? Even though it was
their offensive line's bad, though.
Oh, their O-line's terrible, and he's got no one to throw to. Diggs is gone.
Although Nico Collins is going to be back next week, isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be back. But, I mean, who do you have to throw to?
Yeah, Tank Dell and you and me.
Yes, exactly. I think we should bring up the 2 things that we should be bringing up. Number 1 is the Hail Mary against The Chicago Bears.
Buddy, I thought you were going to be booted from your team. I thought you were going to be cut there for a sec after that.
Apparently, his name is Tyron Stevenson. This guy was a clown.
That's putting it mildly.
Okay, the whole world has seen it. It's been flashed all over the world. It's gone viral. I respect the guy because he walked right in front of the team and in front of the press and said, I was an idiot. I can never do this again. Okay, too bad it cost you because that would have been a huge win for the Chicago franchise. 1 and 2 going at each other. Williams drove them down the field to get that win because it was a tough game. Both of those defenses are good. You know what I mean? And where did they go with that? I don't know. Puke it up. Number one is you don't play volleyball in a situation like that. You know what I mean? What did you think about the Bills and their win last week? Are they back on track? Their secondary makes me nervous.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills are a good team. It's hard to call them a true contender because, in the playoffs, they're not going to win.
Oh, gee.
Sorry, Bills fans.
Okay, that's just the way you're going to think about it. But here's what's going on in the league right now, which I'm not understanding. You got replay assist.
Sure.
When are they going to start using it more?
I don't know.
Okay, what about the face mask? Now, they weren't going to come down the field and win. Minnesota last week against the Rams, they weren't going to go. They weren't going to win that game. But
never say never. I mean, the fans are going to use that.
Of course, and they had 2 minutes, but they were on their own 2-yard line. That turned into a safety, which should have been a 15-yard face mask.
Yeah.
How do you miss that?
I don't understand that. And there was referees right there too.
One was right beside it. I couldn't even see it. Now they say because he was on this side. So he's going to see it. But everybody everybody, I thought it was a face mask right away when I seen him go down. And did you see the defensive player's reaction? He got his hands on his head.
Yeah, he knew he fucked up.
Yeah, and then where's replay assist? When do you use it?
Well, the craziest thing, too, is when there's a catch, with the 2 feet in there.
Great catch by Garrett Wilson the other night, though. That's a classic. And
I'm talking about the Pittsburgh game.
Well, when is a catch not a catch? I don't know.
If it's 2 of the same foot going down as opposed to 2 feet and I don't know. It's goofy. Well, I don't know what's goofier, that or that Giants, whatever the play they tried to run there.
What was that?
Why did they even go for a 2-point conversion there? Do they just not believe in their offense that much? I don't get it, but
at least to show Danny Dimes had a little bit of freaking emotional reaction to that. But that was the worst play I've seen all year.
They put Malik Neighbors in a no-way. He was never going to catch that ball. It didn't matter who,
But the lineup was screwed up. How did they get that set up? Why didn't they call a timeout?
Well, the funny thing was, you kind of see the guy there. He kind of realized at the last second, he's like, oh, shit, that's my guy that I let go through. And then the other guy still go for the block anyway.
I know.
It was so ridiculous.
It will be on one of those misplays of the year, probably top 10.
Misplays of the decade.
It was very, very bad.
That's good. That should go up there with the butt fumble.
Oh, it was so bad.
And the trick play that the Colts ran against the Patriots. The fake punt.
Yes, that's the worst play ever.
That's so bad.
Why didn't they do the timeout? I'll never know. But
at least that one, the ball wasn't supposed to be snapped. This Giants one, that was the designed play.
Yes, and I'm going, what are they doing? Because sometimes people, when you watch football, just watch the trenches. What goes on in the trenches? And sometimes you can see it just by the way the guys are lining up. Not that I'm a football junkie, but if you notice some of these things and you go, oh, run play, oh, pass play, oh, they went into a audible, whatever. So when you're doing a situation like that, shouldn't the coach from the sideline say, hey, it's time out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Also, got to shout out Patrick Mahomes became the fastest QB in NFL history to reach 30,000 passing yards. Did it in 103 games in a 27-20 win at Vegas.
I do believe he beat Matt Stafford's record, didn't he?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Matt Stafford's record. In any event, I think Mahomes has got to be going home every night and laughing his ass off. 7-0, and now he's just got D-Hop. And arguably top 5 defense in the league, Kansas City Chiefs.
They're going to win again.
They're going to win again. I don't know. I'm not going to say nothing about that. I think there's going to some teams that are going to go in the back roll is the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe they've got it straightened out.
I don't believe in the Eagles.
Oh, I don't know. No. Who's going to win that division? Washington?
It's not about winning the division. I'm just saying once it comes to playoff time, they're going to poots out again.
Okay.
The frauds.
Okay, so let's just get this straight. Before we make our picks for the football season, let's discuss something I got to tell everybody out there once and for all.
I don't think we have time for this. We just got to get to our picks.
Okay. No, I can't say the Detroit Lions.
Oh, I thought you wanted to discuss.
No, I just wanted to say this. The Detroit Lions are playing in a way in my 65 years on the planet. Every week I'm more nervous than ever because we've never been a Super Bowl contender in my life. And all I hear is the Detroit Lions. You know how nervous this makes me?
I think you guys are going to the Super Bowl. You should be happy.
I'm ecstatic, but I'm still nervous. This is the Detroit Lions. This is 50 years of cheering for these guys. I've seen a lot of shit happen. You know what I mean? But we look solid.
Sure.
Back end. Okay.
Let's get to our picks. On Thursday, you were on Houston. I was on the Jets. I won.
Good pick.
Yep. Going with the opposite of my instincts on Thursday.
And
once I heard that 97% of the money was on Houston, I was like, Vegas is trying to trap us. All right, first game, Dallas at Atlanta. Atlanta is favored by 3.5 at home. I'm going to take Dallas to steal this one on the road.
I'm saying that Atlanta's defense is going to hold on.
Okay.
And Dallas's defense hasn't been enough, and the Falcons' defense seems to be rolling, and I think they're going to win the division like I predicted.
Okay. Denver at Baltimore. Baltimore is being favored by 9.5. I think that spread's way too big. I'm going to pick Denver to cover, although I think Baltimore is going to win.
Baltimore going to win 27-10 all day. Baltimore.
Against Denver's defense?
What?
Against Denver's defense?
Because the Baltimore defense is going to get up and they're going to be on the field too long. Denver's defense is going to be out there too long.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And they're good against the rush, which bodes well for them. But, okay, continue.
Miami at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 6.5 at home. I'm going to be on the Bills.
All day.
Okay. New Orleans at Carolina. New Orleans favored by 7.5 on the road. I don't believe in that spread. I'm going to take the Panthers to cover.
I'm taking the Panthers to cover too.
Las Vegas Raiders at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals favored by 7. I think they're going to smoke them. Give me the Bengals at home.
All day, and they need to win.
LA Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. Chargers favored by 1.5 on the road. Give me the Chargers.
I'm taking the Chargers too because I think the Browns will have a letdown, and Jesus can't show up for every game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Philadelphia favored by 7.5 at home. I don't know if Jacksonville wins, but I think they cover.
No, I think Philadelphia crushes them.
I don't think
at
so.
home. It's in Philadelphia. They go to 5-4 if they win. Big game for Philly. I think they're gonna smoke them.
Washington Commanders at the New York Giants. Washington's favored by 4 on the road. I'm going to take Washington.
I'm taking Washington too. New
England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. Titans favored by 3.5 at home, but they came off a game against
So you
Detroit,
know where we're going.
So
I'm going to go with that streak.
So we're both on the Patriots.
Can you believe that though? Every team that has played Detroit, including Dallas, who had a bye, and they came back and lost. Everyone that plays. This is why Detroit is just making me full blown all the time, but scared as hell.
Yeah. Chicago Bears at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's favored by 2 points at home, but I think Chicago's going to steal this one on the road.
Arizona's a weird team, especially at home. I'm squeeze it out late. Bears are favored, right?
Arizona's favored by 2 points.
I think they'll go a late field goal to do it.
Arizona?
Yeah, I'm taking Arizona.
Okay. Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Lions are favored by 2.5 on the road. I went back and forth on this one.
So did I.
I think I'm going to take Green Bay.
I'm going to take the Lions because I don't think that is Jordan Love playing.
He is.
He's going to play. Jordan Love is a Lions killer. That's what scares me, but I can't go against my boys. One pride. Grit. Let's go beat them.
All right, LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. Rams favored by 1.5 on the road. I don't believe in Seattle. I'm going to take the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams, too. They got everybody back. They quit trading. You know what? If they win, they're going first place in the division.
That's true. Indianapolis Colts at the Minnesota Vikings. Another game I kind of went back and forth on. Vikings favored by 5.5 at home. I'm going to take the Vikings.
All day long.
And last but not least, the Monday Nighter, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 9.5 at home, but I think primetime weird stuff happens. I don't think they're going to win, but Tampa's going to cover.
I say not. This is going to be the games that Mahomes breaks out for 350 yards. And just to let you know, my 6-game parlay for my bar pick this week is the Bills, the Commanders, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Chiefs, and the Lions. I had the Bengals in there, but I got superstitious.
Uh-oh.
But those are the teams I'll be playing for money, okay?
All right. Good luck to you on your bets, sir.
Thank you.
I'll have to do this a little bit quickly, but World Series was this week. Maybe next week we can talk about it a little bit more when we have a little bit more time.
Let's just say this about the World Series. It was very exciting at points, but let's put it this way. New York Yankees learned the fundamentals. They puked up Game 5. So many, unbelievable.
Judge had his first error of the season.
First error of the season.
My God.
Juan Soto, how is he ever nominated for a Gold Glove? I don't know. Bad base running. Garrett Cole not covering on first base. Sending Stanton on the sacrifice fly when he can't run faster than Turtle. And everything that went on, and I thought the Yankees would take an advantage with the starting pitching, but no, the LA Dodgers are worthy champions, World Series champions.
Hey, congrats to Teoscar Hernandez, Kevin Kiermaier, and Kevin Biggio, all World Series champions.
I love it for Teoscar. He was in the running for MVP.
Yeah.
They had to give
they had to give it to Freeman. Come on. 4 home runs in 5 games.
Yeah, you got to give it to him. But Teoscar had some big hits in this thing, and he was the one that threw Stanton out, no problem.
Yep.
You know, he threw out 2 guys in this series. Because
he's got a hose.
You're damn right he does. Congratulations to Teoscar.
Yeah. So Dodgers took game 1 in the 10th off a grand slam from Freddie Freeman. Game. 4 home runs in 5 games, like I said before. The Dodgers kind of let game 4 go as a bullpen game, letting the Yankees steal, and that paid off big time in game 5, basically using the bullpen. Because Flaherty really stumbled in game 5, only pitched an inning in the 3rd, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers.
Yep.
Dodgers used 7 relievers in game 5.
That's why if the Yankees could have pushed it, they could have got into that bullpen, made them use too much, but they made too many fundamental mistakes. Congratulations on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, and the Yankees were up 5-0 in that game 5.
Choke like dogs.
The Yankees tied it up. They took the 5-0 lead into the 5th. Dodgers tied it up. Yankees score 1 in the 6th. But then the Dodgers took the 7-6 lead into the 8th, and they didn't look back from there.
I say Boone's got a lot on his shoulder, the way especially he handled his bullpen. That's going to catch up with him.
I think I don't really blame Boone there. I mean, he put the right guys out there. They just didn't perform.
Weaver, they put him in too early. They should have put him in later. Garrett Cole should have went longer in the first game. Whatever. We don't have a lot of time to discuss this. Just congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers in a traditional World Series.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Judge's struggles. He went 4 for 18 in the World Series, 3 RBIs, a homer, 7 strikeouts, 4 base on balls, and the vast majority of that production came in the last 2 games.
And not only that, to make the one time to make an error.
I know.
Worst time ever.
Basically.
In any event. Well, we're not going to keep you here.
And also, one question, was that Soto's last game in a Yankees uniform? I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
And he's going to the Mets.
The press conference was brutal, eh?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I can. There's 30. How many teams out there?
Oh,
I'm open to business.
I heard that.
I'm open to business. Right after you lose a tough series, the first thing you say is, I'm open to business. What the rest of the team think?
Oh, he's not on that team anymore. I think that says he's not coming back.
So what do you think? Cohen's going to give him 1 more cent than the Steinbrenners? Because it sounds like he's going to the highest bidder.
I don't think the Yankees are going to. The Yankees don't want to pay more than Judge, from what it sounds like.
Pay him the same. Yankees got
money. He's not going to take that. He's worth way more. He's not going to the Yankees.
Okay, I don't think he's good as defensively as Judge, but I'm telling you.
No, but it's free agency.
He hits in front of Judge. I'd like to hit in front of Judge.
Left-hand bat, too.
Left-hand bat, short porch at Yankee Stadium. Whew.
He's not coming back, though. And we got to talk about the dumb Yankees fans that tried to snatch the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen in a long time.
Funniest and stupidest.
Okay, stupid. But those guys already had a plan that they said if anyone comes close that they were going to interfere anyway. Like, what were you thinking? So that's like going to say, I'm going to go out and commit a felony today. And those guys were adamant after the game. Did you see all the press they got in New York?
Sorry?
Did you see those guys got big press in New York?
Oh, yeah.
They got on
well, they're never going to have to buy another beer in New York.
Oh, no. That's just, but it's crazy. And do you think that they got into Game 5?
I heard they were banned.
Put on a hoodie.
No, come
We're
on.
We're an Ovid.
You don't think there's extra security measures to keep those guys out?
I don't think you'd be able to not know that one guy that had 50 beers.
Exactly.
We would know that. But in any event, that was one of the craziest things we'll see all year. That'll be one of the misplays of the whole season.
Yeah, exactly.
So to speak.
We'll have to wrap this up, unfortunately. We can maybe talk a little bit more about this next week, but I got to rush off to Humber.
Good luck, Humber, this afternoon.
Yep.
Have a big win for us. We're not going to keep you any longer. Once again, Radhika, thank you so much.
I'm off to a Halloween party tonight. How about you?
No, I think that I'm going to stay home and play guitar as much as I can. I want to give a big shout out to my ex-wife who's had some physical problems, Zach. We've done a good job. Cassandra, you're doing great. I hope you get to hear this on the podcast. I'm going to play it just so you can hear it. Good luck to you. You're getting better.
You dress up for Halloween at all this year?
I just had on my Mad Hatter hat and my, I don't know what I didn't dress up, but I looked Halloween-y.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm going as the 3-point white guy tonight.
Oh, that's looking good. That's pretty easy. Do you have any,
that's Sanford and Son.
How do you like that shirt? school.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
This is old school as it gets. In any event, we got to get out of here. I'll wrap everything up, and you just run out the door. But once again, we want to thank each and every one of you people for saying hello. And please, the guy on my street that owns Cody, give us a check. Let us know you listened.
All right.
He listened.
Shout out Cody.
Thank you.
My name's Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz.
What do? We keep the vibe alive. You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.